Hey folks, welcome back. My name is James. Today is Sunday, August 11th, 7:13 p.m. Let's take a look at the market and then we'll go over some things with some stocks in my list here. Okay, so the S&P, we're kind of got a big either channel or rising wedge forming. You can see I've got these two lines here. We're bouncing off support there. I don't have a lot of confidence in which way this market's going, so it's hard for me to just say, yep, I think we're doing this or I think we're doing that. On these two bars here, I think we still have a chance to go higher, but there's always a fear of another tweet or another piece of news or whatever that's going to send everything down. So, and then we're also now into the August-September period of the year where trading can be crappy, volumes can be low, which I'm seeing a lot of low volume. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. NASDAQ, this could be forming a big rising wedge. That line there and that line there. Just in the short term though, again, we're bouncing off a support area and I'm trying to figure out what direction this thing's going to go in. Russell, again, bouncing off support level from here. Not really back there, but more from right there. And then just trying to figure out where we're going. The Dow, same thing, we're bouncing off the 200-day, but I don't have a lot of confidence that that's going to be a hard, straight up rebound. Just, I don't really know what this market's going to do here. So speaking of low volume, before I get into the other stocks, Shopify is one that really threw me for a loop. And this time of year, I'm still trying to pinpoint when this happens, but the really low volume breakouts are hard for me to buy into. Shopify did it, and it already burned me back in here a couple of times. And then here, that wasn't Shopify's fault. That was I think that was the day of the tweet that new tariffs were going to go on. And then I saw some people were buying it off that bounce, but if you look at the index on that day, the index was like a massive red bar. And so I'm like, how can you buy in a situation like that? And then it rebounded here, and the thing I did notice was that even though all of these moves were on lower volume or lower volume than I want to see on a breakout, the one thing I saw here was a close above the line, even though it was low volume. We did close out of the pattern finally. And then obviously it went up for the next 2 days. So one of the things that I'm thinking will work, at least for me, in this kind of environment where it's tricky trading, breakouts, I've noticed a lot of breakouts failing. Stuff thrusts up through the upper line on really big volume in the morning, and then all that volume just dries up and the price just sags and there's no more support. So it looks like a big breakout and then everything just sags and fails. The thing that I think I'm going to test, because I'm still trying to figure this out myself, is buying if a stock is going to close out of that pattern. Because you have the whole day, you can bypass the whole 930 jump that happens every single day. You can let that volume dry up, let the price come back, let it even go back under the line, and then test to see if it'll pull itself back out or if it'll get any kind of price support where the price will just keep climbing up out of the pattern and then close out. I would only do that during low volume periods like this. I mean, this is multiple times I've come across this where you get into these periods where volume just drops off. So I like to see 150% or more volume on a breakout. And I don't get that at all right now. I haven't seen it at all, even though there's been a couple stocks that have actually moved out of the patterns and kept climbing, and it was happening a couple months ago even too. But volume just kind of dries up and you don't have that clear indicator where I would like to see 200%, 175, 250, 300, 400, 500% volume on a breakout. Sometimes you get that if the stock opens and thrusts up from 930, there's tons of volume available there. But when all that volume dries up, there's no more support for the stock and the price just falls right back in. So I've been burned by that several times. I've been burned by that on Shopify back in here. And that one was a tweet. I can't really hold that against Shopify, but AMT did it to me. There's a couple others where you can break out and comes right back in. So I'm right now, especially from now until we get into October, if I enter anything, I'm going to wait to see if the thing is going to close out of the pattern rather than trying to get in between 9:30 and 10:30 or 11 or whatever. Anyway, that's what I'm doing because I've been burned by this several times. So let's look at these ones. CrowdStrike. This is another one that did it. Exactly what I was talking about. I did not buy it, but I waited because I wanted to test my theory here, and it did exactly that. It broke out, thrust up with huge volume, and it all just sagged right back underneath the pattern. So it couldn't close outside of the pattern, so I did not buy that. But I do like the look of CrowdStrike. I think this is a really nice consolidation. I think that this thing could really run far, but I got to see it actually hold and close outside this pattern first. Paycom, I really like the look of this. You can see all that move back here. There's a clear upside trend happening, and now we've got a sideways base forming. 246.85, I think that thing could go. MDB is now forming this little descending channel, falling wedge kind of pattern. Give that some time. I think it's going to challenge the upper line. And earnings are September 4th, so it still has time before it's going to hit those earnings. Here's another one that did the exact same thing, only this was after earnings. Broke out of the pattern, volume dried up, price went right back under the line. So give it more time. For me personally, I'm going to wait to see if it can actually close outside that pattern. Now, if something were to climb that far and close out, I probably wouldn't buy it. But if it's going to close like closer, maybe there or lower, I'll try it. VEEV, I really like the look of this. You can see all that upside trend in this stock now into a little channel slash flag, whatever you want to call it. August 27th is its earnings. I think it has a good chance to go higher before the earnings. Jazz, this is a pharmaceutical drug maker. I like that ascending triangle, and I like the fact that it dipped down here. I think that was its earnings right there. Dipped and was pushed right back in, and then it bounced off there. So I like that that line is holding it up. If it can get going to the upside, there may even be a slanted line right there that could be used as a buy point. But again, I always say I want to see volume, but I don't know that you're going to see the volume here. You might just see the price move, but there might not be enough volume to really say, oh, yep, I can tell that's a breakout, or that's got good institutional support, because the volume just isn't there. Planet Fitness, I've got this line still going. This was a hard dip. I had a lower line down here that I think was ascending. Took it off because it dipped down, but I still think this upper line is holding it down, so that could be a good breakout point. INCY, been following this one for a little while. I like that pattern. Give it time, give it a chance to build its way back up. I think it's going to be good. Tandem, now this is one I had a lower line on. I took it off because this is really the only clear point that I can see in the stock now is this upper resistance line. So give that time. LYFT I put in here now because it had good earnings, and I've been watching this for a while. I've seen this form. I'm kind of like, that's a pretty nice big ascending triangle, and then earnings were good, and then it sold off. But we'll see if it holds the lower line and then begins to climb or bounce off there, because as this gets tighter, that's going to push it more towards a breakout. ILM, this really got hammered on its earnings, but it's now forming a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern. So that's just something to keep an eye on. It might actually get higher. Netflix, I posted this on StockTwits. This might actually be another falling wedge here. I've adjusted the line because I had it tight across that one. Still forming the pattern, so give that some time. That might actually go higher. JEC, you can see we've got an upside trend happening in here. Now this looks like an ascending triangle to me. It's pretty big, like pretty wide. I would wish it was tighter, but it's pushing. It's like 4 cents below the high of the line right now, so it's really close, but it could get going. EW, I like the look of this. Is just a clear point there that it is struggling to get over. If it can, it should go higher. SRE, here's another one. I just found this one because I see this really nice trending period, and then that's a clear resistance point there. So it's just another one to keep an eye on, SRE. And then info, I had this guy before when it was just this part, but now it dipped and is climbing back off. So now we've got this lower line in place. So 6607, give that some time, and its earnings aren't until September 24th. So got lots of time before that comes. So that's it. I will see you on the next one.